This is by far my most requested video, so here it is. The exact workflow I use to build out $40,000 a year client applications in Claude Code. This is the exact system I'm using right now for a client paying me $40,000 annually. After hundreds of hours in Claude Code and multiple client projects, I've refined this down to 7 steps that work every single time. And by the end of this video, you'll see how simple building out a $40,000 a year software really is. You'll know exactly how to build out fully functional applications with minimal debugging, maximum automation, and most importantly, how to unlock the full potential of Claude Code by thinking like an AI orchestrator and not a developer. So no fluff, let's get straight into it. So step 1 in our workflow is discover. What are we actually building and why are we building it? Quite literally, what is the point and what problem is this solving? Now, this sounds simple, but you'd be surprised how many people skip this step and get right into it when this is the most important step. And so I have a list of questions. Let me scroll down here. I have a list of questions that I ask each client on the onboarding and discovery call. And so I'm just going through and I'm getting an idea of their current workflow, what their frustrations are, what their bottlenecks are, and then in a perfect scenario, what would the ideal solution be that makes their life easier? Now, you'd be surprised how bad people are at articulating exactly what they want. And so by asking these questions, we're mining for gold. And the client is practically prompting for us because I ask all of these questions. I'm taking notes of their answers on the call, and I'm taking all of this gold and I'm feeding it into Claude Code to get the actual plan. And then another quick hack to make your life easier is if you use Google Meet. I use Google Meet for all my meetings. You can actually have Gemini give you an transcription automatically and an AI summary of the meeting. And so I now have my notes I took on the call, I have the transcription, and I have an AI summary, and I'm feeding all of this into Claude to actually plan out our application. And this gives us an incredibly strong foundation to make sure that we're actually building something that solves the client's problem and we're not leaving anything unchecked. So I'm actually going to build out something real for you today to demonstrate this entire process. And if you're not building out something for a client, if you just want to build out something for yourself, then you can just go through and answer these questions yourself. So we will be building out a lead CRM for my AI software studio to help manage my entire leads and my pipeline. Okay, so I have my discovery questions here on the left. And by the way, if you want these questions, then I put together an entire free PDF guide with this exact workflow, everything you need step by step to build powerful applications. And it includes the discovery questions. So you can just go down to the link in the description below, click that link, and you'll get it for free. So to make this easier, I'm going to answer these questions and I'm going to speak them. I'm not going to type them because that's going to take forever. So I use a tool called Aqua Voice, and that allows me just to speak into my microphone and actually dictate it into text, so I don't have to type out this entire thing and to make things much faster. So if I just press double function here, it brings up Aqua Voice, and now I'm speaking, and then once I press function again, it will just input it onto my page here. So I'm going to go through and just read these questions and then just speak them. So I am currently using Google Sheets to track all of my leads. I have a sheet that I track my... Okay, so we just answered all of these questions. Now, again, if you have a client, you're doing an onboarding call with them, they would just automatically answer these questions for you. But we have all of this juicy context that we're going to feed into Claude and actually create a plan for our build. Step 2 in our workflow is context. So again, just getting as much data as we possibly can to build out a really strong foundation, build the best app possible, and make our lives as easy as possible. So in that worksheet, under the discovery questions, there's actually a context checklist. So just everything that you need to gather from the client. So current workflows, procedures, screenshots, branding, etc. Now, I have a client who is a fire inspection company, and they have very specific government forms they need to fill out for these fire inspections. And so on our onboarding call, I asked for these forms, sample forms, and then they also gave me some filled out forms as well. Just again, gathering as much data as we possibly can to actually build out the plan and the foundation for this application. And so we are just going to basically collect everything. We're going to synthesize everything and combine it together. And then lastly, we're going to structure this. So we're going to feed everything to Claude and ask, create a comprehensive development plan for this project, including technical architecture, user flows, and implementation phases. So I will actually be doing this live with this lead CRM app, but the number one reason apps fail is insufficient context. It's not giving enough information to the AI because the AI doesn't know what's in your head. So when Claude seems confused or builds the wrong thing, it's not a technical problem. And most of the time, a lot of time, it's not Claude's problem. Sometimes it is, but it's a context problem. More context and the more data and the more instruction you can give Claude, the fewer errors you're going to get and the better application you're going to get as well. Step 3 in our workflow is plan. Now, you're probably thinking, when the heck are we going to start building something with Claude Code? And I hear you, but honestly, vibe coding is 90% planning and 10% actually executing. We have all of this data and context we're gathering up front, and now by turning it into a solid plan, it's going to make our lives substantially easier. The reason why people run into errors and say vibe coding doesn't work is because they fail to do the work up front and actually plan out their project. But to make our lives easier, we're going to have AI actually plan out the entire thing for us. So we're going to take all of that data we just gathered, all of that context, all the discovery answers, and we're going to feed it into Claude, and Claude's going to build out the entire plan and structure for us. Okay, so we're in the Claude desktop app, and a workflow that I really like is having regular Claude plan out my entire project, and then once I have a plan, bringing that into Claude Code. So I have pasted that entire discovery question worksheet, and I'm going to go back to our PDF guide, and I'm going to grab a prompt here. Create a comprehensive development plan for this project, including technical architecture, user flows, etc. And I'm going to paste that in here. And I'm just going to add a little bit more context. So I'll just say, this is for a lead CRM application, specifically for an AI software studio to track their entire pipeline and all of their leads. So I'll paste that in there, and we'll just have Claude plan out this thing. Okay, so Claude has created our plan, and you can immediately see why we have AI do this, because Claude has included more data and more detailed than I ever would. And so again, this just makes our lives easier and creates a stronger foundation for our project. Now I'll bring up Aqua Voice again, and I'll say, now take this entire plan and turn it into a Claude.md file. I can just feed into Claude Code to have Claude Code build exactly what I want in phases. So Claude is now creating our Claude.md file. And if you don't know what this is the actual file that we're then going to take, kind of like the blueprints of our project, and we're going to give it to Claude Code. So this will allow Claude Code to immediately know what we're working on and have a step-by-step plan to build it. Claude Code can sometimes forget what we're working on, especially if we've been working on it for a while. And so this makes sure that it's staying on track and it always has context and it always knows what we're working on. Okay, so Claude has created our Claude MD file, and you can see how freaking comprehensive this entire document is, which is great because it's going to eliminate a lot of room for error and build exactly what we want. Now, not to say that we're not going to run into any bugs at all, but this is going to substantially decrease the amount of debugging we have to do. So I'm just going to go ahead and download this as a markdown, and I'm going to save this as a Claude.md. So we'll save that. And now I'm just going to create our first prompt to build this. I'm going to take our Claude MD file, and then we're actually going to get into Visual Studio Code and start building this with Claude Code. Now give me the power prompt to build out this application. Okay, so Claude is writing our prompts, and you can see that Claude gave us an initial setup prompt and then phase-specific prompts, which is super cool. So we have the foundation setup, AI intelligence layer, pipeline and analytics, and specific power prompts for every single stage. We have data population prompts, we have error handling prompts, deployment, and everything we possibly need to build out this application. So as you can see, this is going to make life a lot easier for us because we've gotten all this data. We've had Claude plan out our project, give us the MD file, and give us the prompts, eliminating our need to interfere with Claude actually building out the application. Step 4, build. Now we actually get to start building on our application within Claude Code. And because we have done so much work up front with these first 3 steps, it's going to make our lives substantially easier and give us a much better result in the end. Now, the best mindset to have when it comes to working with Claude Code, or really any AI tool in general, you may know these 2 men. These are the co-founders of Apple. This is Steve Jobs, and this is Steve Wozniak. Now, you probably know Steve Jobs because he is much, much, much more famous than Steve Wozniak. Now, the craziest thing about Steve Jobs is he didn't even know how to code. He wasn't a developer, he was not technical, but he knew how to spot problems and solve them, and really he's the reason why Apple is so successful today. Steve Wozniak was the coder, he was the technical one. But the real value that you're providing for these business owners and by building out applications is just the ability to solve problems. And this is where you want to live. You want to spend the least amount of time in technical land as much as possible, because AI tools are getting better at solving technical problems and doing technical tasks every single day, diminishing the value of technical skills. The value is in problem solving and always will be in problem solving. These business owners are paying you to solve a problem. They don't care about software. They just want their life to be easier and their problem to be solved. And so remember that you are not solving, or you're not selling applications, you are selling solutions to problems, and we just happen to be, the application happens to be the vehicle. And so I say that because this is where the value is, and we want to spend the least amount of time in technical land as much as possible, because then we go from a business owner to a technician. So with that being said, let's get into Visual Studio Code and start building this thing. Okay, here we are in Visual Studio Code. So I'm just going to click open and then new folder, and we will name this folder lead CRM app. Create that, open that up, and then yes, I trust the authors. And then we will open up terminal. And I will just type in Claude to start Claude. Let me exit out of these. Exit out of that. Now I'm going to grab the Claude MD file that we created earlier with our Claude desktop app. And I'm just going to go back and paste that into our project. Paste that. And if I just want to confirm that it's there, you can see it's now in our project directory. But if I just want to confirm that Claude is picking up on it, I can say read our claude.md file and tell me what I want you to build. Just run that. Okay, so we can see that Claude has successfully read our claude.md file and knows exactly what we wanted to build. So we could literally start building this right now. Claude has a map and a step-by-step plan it can just follow to build this out. But there's a couple of things we need to do before we actually start building. So I can go over here and click new folder. And I can name this folder context. Now, what we can do is we can put everything that the client gave us, like screenshots, specific workflows, forms they fill out, etc., and put all of this context into this folder. And we can tell Claude to reference this folder whenever it needs more context. And how we do that is we can actually easily add to the Claude MD file whenever we need it to memorize something. So we would just type in hashtag, and we would say reference the context, context folder whenever you need more context for the client's, I can't type here, workflow. Or I could say like reference this folder whenever you need to take a look at the client's workflow or system or whatever. So we could just put that in and enter that, but I'm not going to do that because that's not relevant to me right now. I'm building this application for myself. But that is the workflow that I take whenever I'm building out a client application, is I tell Claude to constantly reference this folder whenever it needs to and whenever we need more context. Now, another thing that I find incredibly helpful is if we press / command and then type in agents here, open up the agents command, we can actually create specialized sub-agents that have their own context window and their own specialized tasks. So I have found this very helpful when I'm working on a client's project whose industry I'm not super familiar with. So for example, for the fire inspection company, they have very specific workflows, laws, fire code to adhere by. So I created a sub-agent to advise me on that project that is an expert in fire code, fire laws, and just making sure that I'm staying on track with this project and I'm actually building something that would help the client. So I'm going to do this today for my lead CRM. We are going to press enter to create a new agent. And I'm going to leave this at the project, generate with Claude. And I'm going to go and actually I created a prompt even for this agent with Claude. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this prompt, and I will bring this back, paste this into Claude Code. Might take a second here to load. Yep, and then I'll just run that. And Claude Code will generate this specialized subagent that will be an expert in lead acquisition. So basically, this is just a expert lead acquisition expert subagent. And so it is just trained on everything we need to close deals, get bookings, optimize our entire application to make sure we see the most important metrics first. So what Claude Code is doing right now is using AI to optimize this agent and make sure it's the best, we get the best possible results. Okay, now we can select which tools this agent has access to. I would just do all tools, and now we can select which model we want this agent to use. And I typically just do Sonnet. We can choose a color for this lead acquisition optimizer. Let's do orange. And we can see here we have the prompt to create this new agent, lead acquisition optimizer. Use this agent when you need to analyze, optimize, or enhance CRM systems, sales pipelines, etc. So I'm just going to go ahead and press enter to finalize the creation of this agent. And you can see we have a new folder here with this lead acquisition optimizer agent. So when I would use this agent is when we're actually planning out the application, when I have built the application and I want to make sure it is as optimized as possible to show me the most important information first, to show me the things that I need to see to close more clients and to book more calls. And so this agent will be very helpful. It's more like a consultant, honestly, on building out this project and optimizing it for revenue and book calls. Now there's one more agent we're going to create that is substantially more powerful than the first agent. So let's go back to the Claude desktop app to get our prompt. And this is an end-to-end testing agent. So this agent will go through our entire application, test it, and make sure it works. But we need to give it access to a special tool in order to do this. Now, the problem with Claude Code is it doesn't have eyes. It can't actually see what you're seeing. It can't see what it's building. It can only read the code. Now, this becomes an issue when you want a specific design and Claude Code just can't quite nail it. We can give this subagent access to a tool called the Playwright MCP. Now, basically what this means is we're giving Claude Code eyes and we're giving this sub-agent eyes. So it can actually see what it's designing now and it can see what it's building. So this agent is going to go through our entire application. It can click buttons. It can create user accounts. It can fill out forms. It can ensure it's building exactly what we want. So this is going to make our lives much easier when it comes to testing and making sure our application works. So we're going to go ahead and copy this prompt, and I'm going to put this back into Claude Code, paste that in, and it's going to take a sec to paste because that's quite a big prompt, and then I'll just go ahead and run that. Now, while Claude Code is generating this agent, you need to install the Playwright MCP on your computer in Claude Code to get access to giving Claude Code eyes. So it's free to do. It's very easy to do. There's a Playwright MCP GitHub. You literally just scroll down here. You open up Claude Code. You copy this command and you run it in your Claude Code terminal. That's literally it. You just copy this, you bring it back to Claude Code, and you paste it. And it'll install the Playwright MCP. And then to get access to it, you just have to restart your instance of Claude Code. But I highly recommend you do this because it's just going to make your life easier when it comes time to testing things and debugging things. And let's finalize setting this up. Make it purple. And then we will just press enter. Okay, now we're pretty much ready to go, and I'm happy with this. We have our context folder, we have our Claude MD file, and we have our two specialized subagents, and we're just going to leave it at that for now and actually start building this thing. So I'm going to press escape here, and I'm going to go back to the Claude desktop app, and I'm going to grab that first prompt that we had to start building this thing. Where is that? Okay, so here's our initial setup prompt. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this. I'm going to bring it back into Claude Code, and I'm going to switch to plan mode just to make sure it's going to build what we want. I'm going to paste that prompt in there, and I'm going to press enter. And if the plan looks good, then we're going to start building this out. Okay, Claude has created a plan for the first phase of our project. We have key features, complete authentication flow, full lead magnet, mobile first response. Looks good to me. So I'm just going to go ahead and put yes, auto accept edits, and have Claude actually start building out our application. Okay, now while Claude is building out the first phase, I'm going to get a couple of API keys to set up our database and the OpenAI integration. So let's go ahead and create a new Firebase project. Let's just call this lead CRM, continue, select an account, default account, then create project. Firebase is a database product by Google, and it will allow us to store all of our user information. So I'm going to click on build and then Firestore database. Takes a second to load, any minute now, and then create database. Standard. We'll just do next, and then start in production mode, and this is going to give me an API key that I'll just throw right into Claude Code. Okay, now to get our API key, which will allow us to connect our database to our application, click on the cog on the left here, project settings, create new web app down at the bottom here, and then we'll just call this lead CRM, and then register app, and then this is going to actually give me my API key down here, and I'll just copy all of this and paste it into Claude Code. And to get my OpenAI API key, I would just go to OpenAI Playground, and then click this first link here. And this is where you can basically build custom GPTs. And I would click on API keys and then create new secret key. So we can see that Claude has finished phase 1 of our project, and they have even used the end-to-end testing specialist to test the design, make sure the performance works well, and make sure all of the features look good. So let's go ahead and open up our preview. I already opened up localhost, but I have not seen the dashboard yet. Let's try signing in. And yeah, cool. So we have a pretty standard dashboard here. Looks like a CRM. Looks like we have some demo data that Claude just added for the sake of demonstration. Nice little gradient here, but it's pretty simple. Let's see if these tabs worked. Okay. Let's see if we can add. Yeah, let's see if we can add a lead. Okay, it looks like these buttons are not functional quite yet. Again, this is just the first phase. And so it says pipeline, visualization will be available in the next phase, and then advanced analytics and reporting will be available in the next phase. Yeah, I mean, so pretty standard. I mean, it's very simple right now because we've only done the first phase of the entire project. But this could be something we send to the client as an update just to show them that we've started building out the bones of the dashboard. Now, the next step in our process is iterate. So if we want to make any changes to the features or functionality or the design, how do we actually do that? And I'll show you right now. Now, if I wanted to change features or the design or whatever, I would go back to our application and I would be as specific as possible with what I want to change. Now, a lot of people say things like, make this prettier, and that doesn't tell Claude at all what to do. We have to be as specific as possible with what we're looking for. And so we could say, like, make this left sidebar white, make there a subtle hover animation when I hover over the modals, give this top modal here a nice soft blue glow, right? Being as specific as we possibly can. Now, I have found that if you do want to be a little bit more vague and you don't want to be specific with every little element, you can say things like, make this page look like Apple designed it. Now, it will kind of get it. It won't be perfect, but if you want to have something quick that looks good enough, you can say, make this entire page look like a team of Apple designers designed it. Now, another thing that is incredibly helpful and is your friend is taking screenshots. So I would just take a screenshot of this entire page here if I wanted to edit it, and I would come back and I would drag that right into, let me try that again. Let me try pasting it to my clipboard this time. So I will take a screenshot and I'll come back. My iPad's in the way. Here, let me move this. And I will paste this into Claude Code. And then I would say something like, let's make this left navigation bar white instead of the dark blue it is now. and I'll just go ahead and run that. And Claude should change our nav bar from dark blue to white. Now, again, when it comes to changing something specific, you just want to think, how can I give Claude as much context as possible? So being as specific as possible with my language, what I want changed, what page I'm on, and then if I can, give Claude something visual to look at, like a screenshot. And then references are great too. So if I wanted to, I could find another UI design that I liked, screenshot that, and I could say, use this as a reference image for the design that I want, or the design that I'm referencing. So again, just thinking, how can I provide as much information to leave as little room for error for Claude to mess up. Okay, we can see that Claude is still working, but if I go back to application, we can already see that that change has been implemented, and they've changed this left sidebar. It looks like they've changed it onto first two pages, but Claude is still working on pipeline and analytics because they haven't finished just yet. So easy as that. It's going to always be better on you and easier on you if you just provide as much context up front rather than being vague and having to go back and forth constantly with Claude to get what you want. Now Claude says sidebar color change complete. So let's just go and confirm that those last two pages are done. Yep, that looks good. And that looks good. So with just a simple prompt and providing a screenshot, Claude implemented the change that we wanted. Now, what if it's a bigger change? Like we want to change the entire design language of the application, or we want to change the database that we use. Well, we're actually going to have to change the Claude MD file because remember, Claude already has a map that we gave it in order to build what we want. And so some of the things in the actual map need to change, or else it's going to get messy and Claude will get confused. And so if I wanted to do something like, I don't know, from now on, make all of the buttons orange. Well, I would just type in here, let's, from now on, let's make every button a rounded pill shape with an orange gradient and a subtle orange glow. Something super specific. I would actually, I would also tell it to update the Claude MD file to reflect this design change going forward. And again, I would use similar language no matter what it is. So it's like if I wanted to change the database from Firebase to Supabase, or I wanted to use a different integration, I would tell Claude to update the Claude MD file as well. So I'm actually going to shift, and I don't want Claude to make this change just yet. I'm going to press shift tab and put it on plan mode because I want to make sure when we're editing something really important like the MD file that Claude actually knows what I want. And so this will allow Claude to just plan, tell me what it wants to do, and then I actually approve its plan. So I'll go ahead and run that. And we can see here that Claude gave us their plan. I will update all buttons to have a rounded pill shape with an orange gradient. Here's what I'll do. Update the button component, update existing buttons we've already implemented, update the Claude MD documentation, and then the button style details. So we can see specifically exactly what Claude wants to do, and if we want, we can just go ahead and bypass the permissions. So whenever it's a big change, just make sure Claude updates the Claude MD file to reflect this as well. So going forward, it's going to be easier on you. Step 6 out of 7, automate. So how can we automate as much of this workflow as possible now that we know it's working and spend the least amount of time doing the work ourselves? Now I'm going to show you a hack that is incredibly useful for automating client updates and having Claude create the updates for us. So I'm just going to load up Aqua Voice here, and I'm going to say, let's create a new client updates folder. After every phase, you should create a file in here that a text file that lays out everything that we built in this phase in depth. It should be in layman's terms and not too technical, and it should be framed as exciting and make the client feel engaged, excited, and understood, and so they can see that we're clearly making progress on their project. Now, every time I ask you to create an update, you should create a new update in the client updates folder using the same template. I will probably ask you to create an update after each phase. Also, let's update the Claude MD file so you know to create these updates going forward and make sure they're consistent. Go ahead and run that, and we'll keep it on plan mode. Okay, we can see that Claude has finished, and we now have this client updates folder here. Phase 1 foundation complete. And let me go ahead and open this. And we can see we have a full client update with the most important features and implements that we've made. Dear team. Now this is vague because we didn't specify what the client's name is, but dear team, exciting news. We just completed phase 1 of your custom CRM. I'm thrilled with what we've accomplished, what we've built. Your command center is live. Smart lead magnet system, pipeline visualization. So this makes it incredibly easy. And this is what I use to send updates to every single one of my clients. Now, if you want to, you can update the copywriting. If there's anything you don't like, it's as simple as telling Claude to change something. But you can either just copy and paste this in an email. I usually do a screen recording and talk about it at the same time, as well as some screenshots and a demo of the actual application. So just like that, we have completely automated client updates. And this is why Claude Code is so freaking amazing, because it doesn't just do code and build what we want, but it will literally ask us to automate these other workflows that take up time. So from now on, it's as simple as telling Claude to move to the next phase. And this is why we do that work up front, because I don't have to spend time here doing long prompts or going back and forth with Claude, because we did so much work in the beginning. So literally, guys, my prompts are build phase 1, test phase 1, make sure everything looks good, build an update, and then move on to phase 2. So I will literally just tell Claude, let's move on to phase 2 of the build. And you can see we're literally just giving Claude a command and a permission to move on with this thing. And so this frees up a lot of time and makes this process pretty dang automated. Okay, phase 2 is complete. So let's go ahead and open up our preview. Looks like we are getting a Next.js error here. Let me try refreshing. Yeah, okay. So it happens. You will still get the occasional bugs. That's just a part of AI coding, no matter how much planning you do up front. But all of the work we did up front will substantially decrease the amount of bugs we want to run into. So again, I'm just going to screenshot this and just give context and tell Claude that we're running into an error. Let's see if I can copy these console logs. Copy that. And just say we are getting an error. And then just paste that in there. So with just one prompt, we fixed that bug. And we can already see our dashboard looks a little bit different. So our demo data is gone. It's using real data now. And we now have this AI-powered insights section here. So I wonder if I can add a lead just yet and test that. Okay, nope, this button's still not working. Let's see if pipeline, analytics. Yeah, so it looks like the biggest feature we added was just the implementation of OpenAI to actually scan the data and give AI-powered insights. So I'm just going to have Claude Code finish this project for the sake of the video. Now, I don't recommend you doing that. I do recommend building it out in phases. That way you can go through, test the new features, test the application, make sure everything works, and then move on to the next phase. You're just going to run into less headaches that way. But again, for the sake of this video, I'm just going to have Claude build out this entire thing. Okay, our application should be completely done. So let's go ahead and check it out. Okay, nice. We have this little AI sales assistant that should be connected to OpenAI. I wonder what will happen if I click on it. Hopefully these are not just preloaded responses, which they might be. So we'll have to connect actual data to that. AI insights. Let's see, leads. Let's see if I can create a lead yet, because that wasn't working before. Okay, I still can't. And the application is saying it's done. So that will be something I have to debug. Oh, cool. Oh, that looks pretty good. So now we even have this sales pipeline that I can drag and drop different leads. Let's see, can I go into them? Okay. A couple of things that we need to change. I can't click on this calendar, which I'm assuming is to schedule a call with them. Let's go to analytics, see if that works. Yeah, this looks pretty basic, to be honest with you. So these graphs are actually working, and live graphs. So yeah, I mean, all in all, it looks pretty good. It's rather simple. So this is not filtering based on data, and this is not real data anyways. So there are a couple of things that we need to change. It says it's connected to my Calendly, but I don't remember connecting Calendly. So let's go back and change a couple of things. I don't think this is actually working. This is telling me I have 45 leads in my pipeline. So I wonder if this is still using demo data. So there's a couple of things we need to tell Claude. This is still not working for some reason. I can't add a lead. I can't go into these leads to edit them. This is using demo data when it should be using real data by now. So let's go ahead and go back to Claude and screenshot some things. So I wonder if this is actually using the OpenAI model. Let me ask it something that would not be hard-coded, like how tall is the Statue of Liberty? Okay, so this is using OpenAI models. So let's go ahead and this should be okay. We'll go back to leads and we'll just say these buttons are not working. I'm gonna have to exit out and go back in every time for some reason. Whenever I open up this preview, it won't let me close it out, or it won't let me switch. So let me say it still won't let me add leads. Nothing is happening when I click the add lead button. Fix this. I'm just gonna do all of these changes at once. So let's go ahead and open that back up. So for this pipeline page, I am not able to click into the lead. I should be able to click into each lead, or there should be a little button on each modal for the lead that allows me to click into the lead and see more information, such as if they were contacted, when they were contacted, and just more in-depth information like company. Also, nothing is happening when I click the calendar button, so fix this as well. And just a reminder, you can get a full guide on this whole process down in the description below for free. And this even has things like how to debug, examples of bad prompts, examples of good prompts, providing context, screenshots, iteration patterns, how to automate everything and start to streamline everything, and everything you need to complete this process. Our application should be fully functional now. So let's go ahead and try adding a lead. And this is working now. We're getting a little modal here that pops up. Just add myself. And I wonder if I can add this lead with just those two fields. Create lead. And nice. So we have create a lead. We have some quick action buttons here. Let's see. We can view the lead data. Looks like we can email the lead. It'll open up our mail application. And then we could schedule a call with the lead. So pretty cool. This is pretty much working. Let's check the pipeline. Okay, we can see that this is no longer using demo leads. This is using the actual lead that we just created. And I can drag this from different statuses. Looks like I can mail from here too, or I can see the lead information, and then I can see that I changed the different statuses, and then I can also schedule a call with the lead here. Let's see if the analytics tab is using real data now. Okay, and the analytics tab is now using real data as well. We can see that we have one total lead, and we have one new lead. Pretty freaking cool. So there's one more thing I want to test. Let's make sure this OpenAI, this little AI assistant, is actually working. So what if I say, how many leads have we gotten today? Let's see what it says. You have received one lead today. So pretty cool. We now have a fully functional CRM that I can track leads, I can change the status, I can schedule calls, and I can manage my entire business pipeline. So let's move on to the final step, deliver. How do we actually deliver this project to the client and ensure a successful onboarding? Now, again, in the free guide in the description below, I have included a whole section on a professional handoff and exactly how to deliver these applications to your clients. So the first thing we're going to do is we're actually going to deploy it on Vercel. Now, if you don't know what Vercel is, just go to vercel.com, and this is where we're going to actually host our website to get it live. And it's free to start, by the way. So I actually have a prompt in here that will prepare our entire application to deploy to Vercel. So I'm just going to copy this. I'm going to go back into Claude Code, and I'm just going to throw that in there, paste it, and Claude Code will get this entire application ready for deployment. So my project is officially live on my Vercel account. We even have a live URL. And if I go back to my Vercel account, I can see Claude Code deployed it 6 minutes ago. If I click on that, we can even visit this application. And now this is a live application using real data, and anybody can now visit this application. So if I wanted to add an official domain to this, I would just go to settings. Where the heck is domains? Domains. And then I could connect any domain I wanted to this. Now, there is one more thing you will have to do. You have to add all of the API keys that you gave to Claude Code, like our OpenAI API key, and then our Firebase API key, everything you need to make the app functional. You would just go add all of those API keys to this environment table setting right here. So we are officially live, and we have a fully functional application live on the internet. Now, how do you actually deliver this to the client? Well, once again, in the free guide that I created, I have a handoff email template, just an exciting email letting them know that their app is done and getting them ready to use it. So we have the deployed URL that we just created with Vercel. I usually create a video walkthrough, so just demonstrating the entire application, how to create an account, how to set it up, how to use the features. I have documentation, so I will have Claude Code then create an entire PDF with instructions, and you can simply ask Claude to do that. And then we have the source code that we could deliver to them via GitHub. But that's practically it. I will also provide 30 days of free technical support to make sure that the app is working and to fix any bugs that may arise. I've even created a 15-minute presentation script here, and then also a email that we can send to them if they're happy with the application to get some reoccurring revenue in here. Now, the cool part is that if they're happy with this application, you can always upsell them in the future. You can add on more features. You can add on some more AI integrations. You can charge $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 depending on the scope of the update that they want. It's super important to make the client happy with this first application, because if they're happy with this, then there's no reason why they're not going to pay you more money to add on more features to make their life easier. So that was our entire workflow. First, we discovered what we actually want to build and why we build it. We either went through the worksheet ourselves, or we hop on a discovery call with the client, ask them questions, use Gemini to give us a full transcription and an AI summary. Then we take all of that data and we get more context if applicable. So we ask the client for their workflows, worksheets, PDFs, etc. We take all of that context and we feed it into Claude to plan out the application, to give us a full plan, a Claude MD file, as well as prompts to build out the application. We then go into Claude Code and start building it just by giving it all the information that we already did up front. Then we iterate by taking screenshots and specifying, being as specific as possible, exactly what we want Claude to change. And then we simply automate our workflows, we automate our updates, and we can automate a lot of this because we did so much work up front. And then we deliver the project by getting it live, giving the client a walkthrough, instructions, and sending over that email template included in the free guide. So one more time, if you want that free guide, it's down in the description below. It will cover this entire workflow. It will give you prompts you can use to get started. It will give you emails, scripts to say to the clients, everything you possibly need. So I hope you got value out of this video. This is the exact process I'm using to build a $40,000 a year application. If you did, please consider liking and subscribing down below. I'm creating plenty more Claude Code content. So again, thank you so much for watching this one, and I'll see you in the next one.